The regular meeting of the Mishawaka Common Council for Monday, December 2nd, 2024 will please come to order. Good evening. Those of you who are in attendance, we're happy to see you. If you would, please take a moment to check your cell phone to make sure that you have placed it on silent or vibrate while I do the same thing to make sure that I also will not interrupt the meeting. And then a reminder that it is our standard council requests that anyone who has a hat on in the chamber would remove it during the meeting, and we appreciate your cooperation with that. We also welcome those who are participating remotely. Good evening. Members of the public are asked to place their microphone on mute during the meeting with the exception of any public hearing. At the appropriate point in the public hearing, I will invite the public to unmute their microphone for purposes of submitting such comments as they may wish to make, one person at a time. Anyone wishing to make a public comment will be asked to first state their name and address for the record, and after completing the comment, members of the public are once again asked to place their microphone on mute, and we thank all of you for your cooperation this evening. With that, if you would, please join us in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Hazen. Mrs. Volker.
Here.
Mr. Carroll.
Here.
Mr. Benicki.
Here.
Mr. Emmons.
Here.
Ms. Hahn.
Here.
Mr. Mamalenti.
Here.
Mr. Violi.
Here.
Mr. Hixenbaugh.
Here. Approval of the minutes of our regular meeting of November 18th, 2024. Are there any additions or corrections? Then hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as received from the clerk's office. Petitions, communications, remonstrance, and memorial.
Yes, Mr. President. We have appeal number 2024-52. This is to the Common Council, City of Mishawaka, Indiana. This is a use variance for 3 tenants in a C1 commercial district and developmental variance for 60 square foot monument sign at 917 Union Street, and this is signed by Micah Horner. We have petition number 2024-10 to the honorable members of the Common Council, City of Mishawaka, Indiana. This is a petition for annexation and zoning classification to annex 7.72 acres and rezone to S2 planned unit development for an apartment complex on Douglas Road. This is signed by Linda Solich and Kimberly Riggs.
Thank you. This evening, we have no report of any special committee, so we'll move into ordinances on first reading.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-34, an ordinance amending Chapter 121 of the Municipal Code of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, commonly known as the Flood Control Ordinance of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana.
Proposed ordinance 2024-34 will be assigned to the Land Use Planning Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-35, an ordinance amending Chapter 137 of the Municipal Code of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, as from time to time amended, commonly known as the Zoning Ordinance of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana. This is wellhead protection, land use restrictions.
Thank you. At this time, in order to afford the council an additional opportunity to consider this proposed ordinance, the chair would entertain a motion to postpone indefinitely second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 2024-35.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to postpone indefinitely second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 2024-35. Any additional questions or comments from the council? Then hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, so the matter will be postponed indefinitely.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-36, an ordinance amending ordinance 5868, fixing the salaries of all employees of the City of Mishawaka, except Mishawaka Park Department, elected officials, and the Mishawaka Utilities for the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, for the year beginning January 1st, 2024. This is for central services.
Proposed ordinance 2024-36 will be assigned to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-37, an ordinance amending ordinance 5907 as amended, fixing the salaries of all employees of the City of Mishawaka except Mishawaka Park Department, the elected officials, and the Mishawaka Utilities for the City of Mishawaka, Indiana for the year beginning January 1st, 2025. This is in Central Services as well.
Proposed ordinance 2024-37 will be assigned to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-38, an ordinance declaring an emergency and transferring and appropriating funds within the budget adopted by the calendar year ending December 31st, 2024. This is in Central Services in the amount of $30,000.
Proposed ordinance 2024-38 will be assigned to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-39, an ordinance declaring an emergency and transferring and reappropriating funds within the budget adopted for the calendar year ending December 31st, 2024. This is in the Park and Recreation Department in the amount of $100,000.
Proposed ordinance 2024-39 will be assigned to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-40, an ordinance declaring an emergency and determining the expenditure of additional funds and transferring the American Rescue Plan Coronavirus Local Recovery Grant for the year ending December 31st, 2024. This is in the amount of
Proposed ordinance 2024-40 will be assigned to the ARPA Funding Special Committee.
Okay. Proposed ordinance number 2024-41, an ordinance declaring an emergency and determining the expenditure of additional funds for the year ending December 31st, 2024. This is in the general fund in the amount of $250,000 and $367,675.
Proposed ordinance 2024-41 will be assigned to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-42, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, establishing a merit system for the Mishawaka Police Department.
Proposed ordinance 2024-42 will be assigned to the Public Health and Safety Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-43, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, establishing a merit system for the Mishawaka Fire Department.
Proposed ordinance 2024-43 will be assigned to the Public Health and Safety Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-44, an ordinance approving the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Mishawaka and the Mishawaka Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 91.
Proposed ordinance 2024-44 will be assigned to the Public Health and Safety Committee. This evening, we have no resolutions, so we'll move into ordinances on second reading.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-31, an ordinance approving an agreement between the City of Mishawaka and the employees of the Central Services Department, represented by the International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 364. This is for Central Services.
Thank you. May we have the committee report, please?
Yes, Mr. President. To the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Personnel, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 2024-31, report that they have examined said matter and that in their opinion it should be adopted. This is signed by all members present, and I move for its acceptance.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the committee report. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. With that, we'll move into second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 2024-31. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, if you would, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is Tim Ryan. I'm the Director of Central Services. I was on the city side of the negotiating team. I'd request your approval for this contract. I think it was well negotiated on both sides. I'd like to thank the city's negotiating team as well as Teamsters Local 364 for the good faith bargaining that they did. No major hangups, no issues. It was uncontentious. Actually, probably the most pleasant negotiations I've had. So I would request the approval of this contract.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Ryan? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? If you would, please come forward.
Thank you. Craig Fitzpatrick, Business Representative for Teamsters 364. I again support what Mr. Ryan just said. I've represented the group for 5 years now, and we had a very open dialogue, good negotiations, and the members overwhelmingly support the agreement, and we ask that you do too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Then thank you again for the work that you and the people that you represent did on this, and thank you to the administration as well for what sounds like a very productive round of negotiations.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please come forward. Then is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone with us this evening who wishes to speak in opposition? Please come forward. And is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there any council members who wish to speak? Mr. Mamalenti?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was pointing at Ms. Volker. Sorry.
Mrs. Volker?
Thank you. I just wanted to, this really doesn't have anything to do with negotiations, but in my opinion, what Central Service has done is so important to our city. And I mean, I emailed you a couple weeks ago about a dead goose in the park. I mean, they're just things that come up all the time. And I appreciate so much that you guys are on top of it and take care of it. I have a very large yard with 10 million leaves that you pick up every year, and I appreciate that so much. And I know I'm not the only one that does. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you very much for all that you do, because I'm sure there are times when it is not fun. But just know that it's very appreciated.
Well said. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? If not, then I will call for the question.
Question.
Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Benicki?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Violi?
Yes.
Mr. Hixenbaugh?
Yes.
Proposed ordinance passes 8-0. Proposed ordinance number 2024-32, an ordinance approving an agreement between the City of Mishawaka and the employees of the Sewer Department represented by the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Local 364.
Thank you. May we have the committee report, please?
Yes, Mr. President, to the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Personnel, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 2024-32, report that they have examined said matter and that in their opinion it should be adopted. This is signed by all members present, and I move for its acceptance.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the committee report. Any additional questions or comments? Then hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. With that, we'll move into second reading of public hearing on proposed ordinance 2024-32. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, if you would, please come forward to the podium.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the council. My name is Tom Dolly. I'm the Director of the Sewer Maintenance Department for the City of Mishawaka. I'd like to respectfully request your approval for the attached proposed ordinance approving the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Mishawaka and the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, local numbers 364, for certain employees of the City of Mishawaka Sewer Department. I, as well as the Central Services Department and Tim Ryan, found that the negotiations with the Teamsters this year went very smooth. It was probably one of the easiest negotiations we've had in years, and I know their business agent, Craig Fitzpatrick, has been a little under the weather this year, and he did an outstanding job with all the issues he had and his fill-ins for him. So, but it went very well, and once again, we request your approval, and we'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please come forward.
Again, Craig Fitzpatrick. Obviously, I represent both groups. I want to repeat exactly what Tim and Tom both said. It was very good negotiations. Do appreciate the work that was put in by the city, both department heads, HR, Controller's Office, as well as John, City Attorney. Again, the members support this, and we ask that you do too. And I also thank you for the kind words earlier. Both groups do work very hard and do take pride in what they do for this city. So again, thank you.
Thank you. And I will also repeat myself, thank you to you and your team, as well as the administration's team, for another round of productive negotiations. We appreciate it. Any questions from the council? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? If you would, please come forward. Is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone with us this evening who wishes to speak in opposition? Please come forward. And is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there any council members wishing to speak? Mrs. Volker.
Thank you. I just want to point out, too, how much I appreciate the sewer department. There's been an issue, an ongoing issue on Wilson Boulevard, and Mr. Violi and I are very well aware of it. And I know engineering's working on it, but I know you guys have had to work on it for a long, long time. And I really appreciate the persistence. And I know all the people that live around there appreciate it. And it sounds like we're moving in the right direction. It's going to be solved. So it's just one of many things that you guys do, and just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Volker. Any other comments? And hearing none, I will call for the question.
Question?
Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Benicki?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Violi?
Yes.
Mr. Hixenbaugh?
Yes.
Proposed ordinance passes 8-0. Proposed ordinance number 2024-33, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5898, which established a designated outdoor refreshment area.
Thank you. At this time, based upon the request of the administration, the chair would entertain a motion to amend proposed ordinance 2024-33.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to amend proposed ordinance 2024-33 at the request of the administration. Before we move to a vote, Mr. Lynch, would you like to summarize the nature of the amendment for the record?
Matt Lynch, 100 Lincoln Way West, right here at City Hall. So the nature of the amendment, it stops the expansion of the DORA boundary at the north part of Main Street and Lincoln Way East. And, you know, after consulting with some of you, as well as Chief Arndt from the Mishawaka Police Department, we believe that stopping the boundary makes sense in terms of safety. And while I think it makes sense to bring the DORA boundary into the traditional downtown, crossing Lincoln Way, I think probably at this point is a street too far. We would like some time to expand it, monitor it, and then see how this goes before we would like to expand it again. So based upon the conversations we had, as well as the conversation with Chief Arndt, and it's his recommendation that we do it as the amendment would state, that we would stop again at the northern part of Main Street and Lincoln Way East.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Lynch on the amendment only? Thank you, sir. Are there any additional questions or comments from the council? Then at this time, all those in favor of the amendment as proposed by the administration signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, so the ordinance will be amended accordingly. And with that, I'll ask for the committee report.
To the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Public Health and Safety, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 2024-33, report that they have examined said matter and then that, in their opinion, should be presented to the council as a whole. This is signed by the entire committee, and I move for its acceptance.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the committee report. Any additional questions or comments from the council? Then hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. With that, we'll move into second reading of public hearing on proposed ordinance 2024-33 as amended. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, if you would, please come forward to the podium.
President Hickson-Baugh, honorable members of the Mishawaka Common Council, I'm Matt Lynch, Executive Director of Development and Governmental Affairs for the City of Mishawaka. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening regarding the proposed expansion of the designated outdoor refreshment area, DORA. As public servants entrusted with shaping Mishawaka's future, you have consistently demonstrated a thoughtful approach to initiatives that balance growth, community values, and practical governance. Tonight, I ask for the same thoughtful consideration as you deliberate on the expansion of our DORA boundary to include much of the traditional downtown area, stopping at the corner of Main Street and Lincoln Way East. For those listening here tonight or in attendance, DORA, or Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area, allows patrons to responsibly enjoy alcoholic beverages within a defined public area while participating in local events, dining, or shopping. This concept has already proven successful in Mishawaka, creating a vibrant, family-friendly atmosphere in designated spaces. The proposed expansion is not a departure from these principles, but an enhancement of them. Why expand? The amended boundary strategically incorporates key areas of our downtown, aligning with the city's long-term vision of enhancing economic vitality, attracting visitors, and supporting local businesses. By including 5 additional vendors and the potential of a 6th with the Avalon within the boundary, this expansion provides more opportunities for participation and growth, directly benefiting small business owners and strengthening our local economy. DORA fosters a sense of community and creates memorable experiences for residents and visitors alike. It enhances our ability to host successful events, activate public spaces, and highlight the best of what Mishawaka has to offer. It is a reflection of our community spirit and our shared commitment to being the best hometown in America. I understand there may be concerns about enforcement, safety, or potential disruptions. Let me assure you, these considerations have been accounted for, and as I recommended, and you all approved the amendment tonight, addressing one major concern. Our Mishawaka Police Department, led by Chief Arndt, supports a revised boundary and is prepared to maintain the safety and integrity of the expanded area. DORA rules, including the use of specially marked cups and the strict boundary enforcement, will remain in place. Approving this expansion is not just approving boundaries, it's about proving progress, community connection, and opportunity. This thoughtful, measured expansion strikes the right balance between growth and tradition. I urge you to vote in favor of the revised and amended DORA boundary and take this step forward in making Mishawaka an even more dynamic, welcoming, and thriving community.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Lynch? Mr. Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Lynch, I just want to make sure to date we haven't had any issues, concerns, or any incidents that have occurred within the current DORA area. Is that correct?
That is correct. There has been no incidents. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Mr. Lynch, thank you for your work on this. I appreciated your summary of what hasn't changed, the restrictions and the oversight that was in the original DORA ordinance remain in place even after, if this amended ordinance was to pass, correct?
Yes.
And that includes the ability of the mayor and the chief of police, I'm sorry, to be able to, in essence, shut down DORA if there would be any significant public safety concerns. Is that
That's right.
correct? And then also, the ordinance as amended would still retain the authority of this council to be able to also take legislative action to restrict or otherwise delete the operation of DORA as would be appropriate. Is that
That's also correct.
All right. So again, thank you for your work on this that you've done, not only appearing at these meetings, but in between time interacting with the vendors and those who are participating in this.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor, if you would, please come forward. Then is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone with us this evening who wishes to speak in opposition? Please come forward. And is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there any council members who wish to speak? Mr. Mamalenti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank Mr. Lunch and all those that were involved in the effort to bring this to our attention and for the expansion. Although I was a little bit apprehensive on the expansion, I think I find comfort in the chief's recommendation of the letter that was composed and circulated to the group as well. But I still will remain cautious. The curve southbound on Main Street does give me some concern, but I do find comfort in the fact that Mr. Hicksonball had mentioned that at any point in time, we feel that it's dangerous situation or unsafe to some of the residents, that we can peel that back. So I look forward to enjoying this in the summer months, and I'm glad to hear that there has not been any incidences or any harm done to anybody. So thank you for the work and the efforts, and I will be in support of this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hahn.
I just want to also say thank you to Mr. Lynch and the administration. I know when I supported this in the summer, I was pretty vocal about wanting to include Main Street and a lot of our local shops. I've worked closely with some of the shop owners, the restaurant owners. They're very excited, especially on the time frame that they may get to be involved in Winterfest in some capacity. They have some good ideas, sip and shop, hot cocoa, just things like that. I think it's really going to add. It's going to be vibrant, like we've mentioned, and just want to say thank you for looking at this in a timely manner and thinking of those small businesses.
Thank you. Mr. Evans.
Excuse me, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to commend Mr. Lynch for changing the boundaries of the proposed DORA. I still had concern about crossing Lincoln Way and by changing the outline of the DORA, I can vote in favor of this proposed ordinance. Again, thank you for your work on it and consideration of changing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council? And hearing none, I will call for the question.
Question.
Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Beninki?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Ms. Hahn?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Violi?
Yes.
Mr. Hicksonball?
Yes.
The proposed ordinance as amended passes 8-0.
Thank you. At this time, we will move into privilege of the floor, and we are inviting members of the public to the podium to speak with respect to non-agenda items only under privilege of the floor. Take your time, Your Honor. We're not going to cut you off.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members, for your patience as I made my way up. Just wanted to bring you aware, if you're not already, of a few events happening throughout the holiday season here. First of all, Saturday at 10 o'clock a.m. right here in Council Chambers City Hall, we will have a ceremony on Pearl Harbor Day to dedicate our newest additions to the just the outstanding memorials that we have in the city. This one being our Civil War memorial, newly created plaque, newly framed battle flag from the Civil War that flew over an Indiana regiment from a Mishawaka soldier, and some other artifacts and memorabilia that we'll be dedicating on that day, as well as to remember our own piece of Pearl Harbor, which is the USS Arizona that we have a piece of here on permanent display at City Hall. So we're proud to do that. We are also, that evening, celebrating Mishawaka's great hometown holidays with Winterfest. We have over nearly 80 floats, lighted floats, that will be a part of this parade. We'll bring Santa Claus in around about 5:30 to 6, and we'll light the official city Christmas tree. We'll have some free ice skating and all kinds of festivities with the event. And we'll wrap it up with the city's first drone show in city history. So we look forward to that. I've seen some glimpses of it, and it's going to be pretty cool. So we're excited about that. Then on the 14th of December at noon at Fairview Cemetery, we'll have Wreaths Across America coming back to put wreaths at all of our veterans' tombstones and out at the cemetery. It is become one of my absolute favorite traditional Christmas events here. All are welcome to come out and participate. This year, my very own son will represent the Air Force, so you can come out and see Cadet Flight B ROTC member Cadet Wood out there. So anyway, we'll be out there participating in that as well. So just some great opportunities for you to participate in our upcoming festivities surrounding the holiday.
Thank you for the updates. Any questions for Mayor Wood? Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor, please come forward or speak under privilege of the floor.
President Hickson, Ball, honorable members of the Mishawaka Common Council, Matt Lynch, Executive Director of Development and Governmental Affairs, 100 Lincoln Way West. I'm here tonight to talk trash. And first of all, thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening regarding the transition to our new solid waste and recycling service provider. As we approach this important change, I want to highlight key aspects of the transition and share what both the council and our Mishawaka residents need to know in the coming days. First of all, effective January 1st, 2025, Waste Management, WM, will assume responsibility for our city's solid waste and recycling service. This transition comes after a thorough and competitive bidding process and at securing reliable, cost-effective, and sustainable services for our community. While transitions of this scale can present short-term challenges, and I can tell you it will, the long-term benefits to our city and residents are significant. First of all, the things I would like to highlight are, first of all, bin distribution starting today, December 2nd. Waste Management has begun delivering new 96-gallon trash and recycling bins to every residential property in Mishawaka. And this is just a reminder, no citizen in Mishawaka can opt out of the service. WM will be our provider across the city. This process is expected to be completed by December 20th. Residents who do not receive their bins by that date are encouraged to contact WM's customer service team. And just a reminder that those are being staged. Those have been staged, all the bins, and that a recycling bin and a trash bin that will be delivered to everybody. But we're asking our residents to put those bins aside until January 1st, 2025. And that relates to temporary overlap with bins. For a brief period, residents will have bins from both Republic Services and WM. Republic's bins should continue to be used for the remainder of December. Following the final collection, residents should leave Republic bins at the curbside for retrieval. Beginning in January only, WM bins should be used. So please, residents, keep the WM bins aside, continue to use Republic bins until January 1st. Options for smaller or additional bins. WM offers smaller 64-gallon bins for those who prefer them, as well as additional bins for those with larger needs. These adjustments can be arranged directly with WM after residents receive their new bins. So everybody gets a 96-gallon, two 96-gallon initially. for trash and recycling. Continuity of service, many aspects will remain familiar to residents. WM will continue to provide weekly trash and recycling pickup, and when necessary, residents may still place one item or a 40-pound trash bag at the curb alongside their bin as needed. There will, of course, be weekly pickup of 2 bulky items such as furniture and/or appliances. And the other major thing to consider is enhanced customer service. WM will introduce a dedicated call center and an online portal for residents to easily address requests or concerns. These tools will ensure responsive and efficient communication with residents. And what we believe Mishawaka residents need to know, transitions of this magnitude will involve minor challenges. Or for some folks, it'd be major challenges. And it just depends on how you frame things. But minor challenges as WM familiarizes itself with our city neighborhoods and routes. While the city and WM are working to ensure a seamless transition, we ask for patience from our residents during this period. Residents are encouraged to stay informed through updates from the city's website and social media. Plus, I did another interview today on WNDU, and I think we've hit all the stations, plus the newspaper. We're trying to hit this in every way possible. Follow instructions provided for bin use and replacement. Contact WM for bin size adjustments once you get your bin, or to report issues promptly. And looking to the future, this partnership with WM represents a step forward for Mishawaka, aligning with our commitment to environmental stewardship, sustainability, and exceptional public service. From enhanced recycling capabilities to improved customer service, WM brings modern resources and expertise that will serve our residents well for years to come. In closing, I'd like to thank the Common Council for your diligence in supporting this transition and our residents for their understanding and cooperation. Together, we are ensuring that our Mishawaka community continues to be a model community for clean, efficient, and forward-thinking services. If there are any questions or concerns, I remain available to provide clarity tonight or anytime. Thank you for your time and dedication to the betterment of Mishawaka.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Lynch? Mr. Violi.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch, and I think I've asked you this before, but just so I make sure I told my neighbor correctly. We are a Friday pickup, and that's the 27th of December. Since it comes after Christmas, it'll bump over to the 28th, which is a Saturday, correct?
Yes.
They're going to come and get the bin after that. Even though there's the 30th and 31st, or Monday and Tuesday, they'll back on Republic will continue. They'll take those 2 days, and then Thursday, I guess, the 2nd of January is when we'll see WM start to collect.
Yeah, that is correct.
And you'd said about getting all this information out, and you're correct. There's been a lot of misinformation. Are we going to get something in the communicator, in
Yes.
the electric and utility bill?
There'll be a few things, but there's been
I know.
3 or 4 articles on the website. We've used social media. We've tried to get all the information out to all the TV stations, newspaper, and they have been very willing to oblige us.
I understand, but it'd be
We'll
good.
continue.
It'd be nice to have it in the utility bill. Just a
It
little
is.
blurb. Okay, that's all I want to know.
Yep, it will
Thank
be
you.
in the utility bill. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Yep.
Mr. Bramolenti.
Yes, I just want to say thank you again for all the work and effort you put into this. And as I had mentioned before, communication, I think, is key. I appreciate all the information, all the interviews. But if there's anyone like me, I'll forget it tomorrow. And then be asking questions and asking my neighbors, et cetera. So if we can kind of continue and sporadically provide information up until this point, that would be greatly appreciated.
We'll
And-
continue with the effort to get communication out
And
via
then-
all means. All
And then
means.
also, if you could, if you have not already included on some of the communication information, including like the link for the app that people can download on their smartphone, whether it's through the Android or the Apple, that they can download that and then kind of familiarize themselves with that as well. That'd be appreciated.
Will do, and that will happen after all the bins have been distributed.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mrs. Volker.
Thank you. Mr. Lynch, I guess I'm following up on the whole communication thing. I'm on the website, and there's really nothing on the website, like on the front page, there's nothing. about the new,
On the news section, there is. We will place a banner.
right, but it's not, but under the news section, there's really, the only information, there's a phone number for Mishawaka Utilities, but there's no,
There's an article on the news section.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And the phone number is for Mishawaka Utilities Customer Service. There's nothing for Waste Management. So I guess I'm just kind of echoing when will the information that's distinct to Waste Management be available for?
Within the next couple weeks. Yeah.
Okay. And it'll be on the front?
Yes, it will. It'll be on the banner.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Evans?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank you, Mr. Lynch, for looking into how the new service people are going to handle the handicap requests that have been handled previously by Republic. And then I've had a couple people call whether they're going to be the same service or whether it's going to be a change in them handling their recycling and their trash. So I appreciate that. If you could get back with me as soon as possible so we can inform some of these people just exactly if it's going to change or if it's going to stay the same, because it's a good.
So we will handle these
concern
on a
today.
case-by-case basis. And
Pardon?
we will handle these on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
And we'll work with WM to see
Okay.
what we can do.
Yeah, but I mean, if we could get it out to the,
No, I understand.
to the people that are in this program for the handicap on the service of their containers. Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Will do.
Thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Lynch? Matt, thank you again for your work on this. And if you touch on this point, I'll apologize for having missed it, but I know from a recent conversation with you that, as I understood it, residents who currently enjoy the senior discount, there isn't an additional step that they need to take that's going to be rolled over, so automatically when the new billing starts, they'll receive that same senior
That is
discount.
correct.
So while the amount will change, they'll still receive that discount as opposed to the normal residential rate.
Great. We have created the list, identified the seniors, and the seniors will continue to get the discount as they always have.
My other question is, and this goes back to the approval of the contract with WM, my recollection is that they committed to us in this chamber and in writing in the contract to helping to support you with regard to the communication plan and the outreach to residents. So while I sincerely appreciate the work that you're doing, my question is WM holding up their end of the bargain?
Absolutely. We've been talking, we've discussed the different subjects and the things that they're working on, like the microsite, like the portal, like the push notifications, and we discussed what we're doing. So we continue to have those discussions, and yeah, they're absolutely living up to what they said. The major communication piece that they have worked on and have sent to me for approval and edit is the piece that they feel is the most important. Sounds very simple, but it's very practical. It's a piece that's going to be connected to the bin as it's distributed. What they find is that piece has time and time again met the needs of the folks needing information. But it's going to be more than that. It's going to be everything that we talked about.
Well, I'll have to look closely when I get home because they were doing the deliveries in my neighborhood and on the eastern part of Mishawaka as I was driving to the meeting this evening, so I'll look for that. I guess the other issue that you and I discussed, and I agree with Mr. Violi's suggestion that using the communicator is a great way to do significant outreach. However, there are people like me who pay digitally their utility bill. I don't see the communicator as often as I would if I was still paying and receiving a paper hard copy invoice. So my hope is that through the use of the website and that banner that you discussed with Mrs. Volker or whatever other means are available to us, that will, and it sounds like you are already on it, that we're going to leave no stone unturned with regard to how we communicate with folks, and I appreciate your commitment to that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll use any and all means of communication to get the information out there.
Fantastic. Thanks again for your work on this. Is there anyone else wishing to speak under privilege of the floor? Then is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak under privilege of the floor? Thank you. With that, we'll move into unfinished business, of which there is none. New business, then. Is there any new business to come before the council? Mr. Carroll.
Yep, thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to thank everybody who came to our first Second District meeting. There were a number of council folks there, and that was much appreciated by me and the folks that attended. We are going to have one more before the end of the year, and that one will be on the second Thursday of December, which will be the 12th at 7 p.m. in the Blair Hills Common Room.
Thank you. And thank you for your work in helping that group spring into being. Very well done. Is there any other new business to come before the council? Then hearing none, a motion to adjourn would be in order. We're adjourned.